Fortnite is accused of not being forthright. Okay, I have to admit, before I start talking about this, I am not a gamer, as they say. While I love playing games, I love competing, I just don't have the time, thankfully, or I'd probably be an addict to these games like Fortnite. Despite not being a gamer, I have to share this one with you because it affects so many people. First, if you're like me and you're wondering what is Fortnite, in short, this is a game, it's an online video game that was released in 2017. It was developed by this company, Epic Games. And essentially what players do is they log in online and they can play against each other. And you can literally have, I believe it's hundreds of people battling each other. And it's basically a battle to the last man standing. You're allowed to purchase tools and instruments and shields and things to protect yourself during this game. And it's really taken off like fire. It's actually considered to be the best game of all time. Or potentially one of the best. So, how successful has it been? How big is this game? Well, just to give you an idea, in 2018, $5.4 billion worth of sales. That's an 18. 200 million players. That jumped up in 2021 to 5.8 billion and 400 million players. So this game is huge. We're talking billions of dollars yearly and hundreds of millions of players. Now, let me give you an example of how much time people are spending on this. They've done studies. They say 34% of people play between 6 and 10 hours a week on Fortnite. That's like coming home from work every day and putting in 2 to 3 more hours playing a game. Another example of the amount of time people put in on this, in 2023, Fortnite started streaming some of these competitions so people would just watch them. You weren't actually playing, you were just watching. Since 2023, just in a couple short years, people have spent a combined 112 million hours watching other people play this game. Okay, so now you know the popularity of it. How does Fortnite make money, and what did they get in trouble for? Well, here's how it worked out. Fortnite has in-game sales of its virtual currency. It's called V-Bucks. And you use these V-Bucks throughout your time in the game, and then you can exchange them for these better tools and shields and other virtual items that you get. So it might be free to get in and play the game, but this is where the money comes in. It's buying these virtual tools with your V-Bucks. And this is what the current lawsuit and settlement is about. In December of 2022, Epic Games, that's who owns Fortnite and who developed it, agreed to pay $245 million to stop allegations against them of unlawful billing practices. You see, the Federal Trade Commission came in and they said, look, Epic Games, you're using a bunch of tricks and tactics to fool people, customers, into making unwanted purchases. This came about from the FTC, of course, after a bunch of people had complained about this. You see, in some cases, charges were automatically being incurred with the pushing of a single button. Some of the buttons that you had to push to buy things were next to other buttons that served another function on the device. This led to some people being fooled, and with a single button push, they were charged automatically for something. Other players alleged that even just hitting a button to wake the game up from a sleep mode resulted in an automatic charge. This was investigated, and particularly was investigated because many of the players of Fortnite are teenagers and even children, believe it or not. And once your credit card is in the system and you start pushing buttons, it starts charging. That's what brought Fortnite and Epic Games ultimately under this heavy scrutiny. Now, what did they do? They stood up and said, well, we'll pay $245 million in settlements back to people. That results in anywhere between $120 and $140 back, roughly, per user on Fortnite that was using it during this particular time period. Now, how hard is that going to be for Fortnite or Epic Games? It's barely even a slap on the hand. Let's just use 2024 earnings. Now, in most years, the sales were $5 billion, but we'll just use one of those years. In 2024, they're projected to have $5.8 billion in sales, yet once again. If you take that $245 million, that's 4.2% of a single year's earnings. I don't think this is going to hurt Fortnite very much. However, it is going to help consumers, and this is what the Federal Trade Commission is all about. The Federal Trade Commission is what I like to think of as the fairness police. They're out there to protect you and I. They're an independent federal agency that protects consumers from policies and procedures and methods that large businesses use to fool consumers and essentially pull off scams or fraud. And so things like telemarketing fraud, internet scams, price fixing schemes, the Federal Trade Commission comes in and they go after bad actors. In this case, they received enough complaints. They went in, there had to be something behind it. And they determined that this was a worthy cause. that Epic Games was fooling people with a button pushing that was resulting in all of these unnecessary charges and unreasonable charges in many scenarios that were made just by accident. If you have any sort of an issue that you feel is unfair, you can actually go to the Federal Trade Commission and report it, www.ftc.com. Consumers can go there. It's very easy. You can report frauds, scams, things that you believe are a ripoff. And if it gets investigated, it might end up like this one, where there's a refund that's given to all users. That's Fortnite. That's how the button pushing came down. That's how this $245 million settlement is now progressing. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed this. If I can tell you about anything else, please get a hold of us here at Ramos Law. We're here to help you. We're here to help consumers. We're here to help people and to make the world a better place.